Hi, I'm Fern Wexler, and I'm a first-time author, and this is my debut children's picture book, Families of a Feather, a celebration of natural diversity. It's been in progress for about 5 years now, and I'm really excited that it's finally here.
Can you give us a brief synopsis of your book?
This book is less of a story and more of a sort of safari that takes kids and families around the world to see different bird family dynamics that might mirror their own. I wanted to really give a worldwide kind of feel to it. So we've got birds from North America, we've got birds from Australia. We kind of traverse the globe to look at all these different bird families.
What inspired you to write this book?
I have always loved birds, and I'm a member of the LGBTQ community, and one thing that really made me feel as loved and accepted as possible was being able to see representations of myself within nature. And I had an amazing family that definitely made me feel accepted, but being able to see myself in this thing that I loved so much, that thing being birds, really helped me along my own self-acceptance journey, and I wanted to try to provide that for other kids that may be struggling.
What kind of research did you do to write this book?
So I've always loved birds, and one thing that I do a lot on my own is just read scientific studies. So I used a lot of primary sources for this book, but one of my favorite secondary sources was the book Biological Exuberance, which was a landmark book compiling a lot of different studies about animal biodiversity. There's not a specific focus on birds, but there is an entire section dedicated to them, and that was my primary secondary source.
What's one of the most interesting things you learned about birds while writing this book?
That's kind of a difficult question, mostly because I think that everything I learn about birds is interesting. I think one of the things that's features prominently in this book was about acorn woodpecker nesting dynamics and hierarchies. They live in what's called a cooperative breeding group, so they can have just these massive colonies made up of a lot of different individuals. Sometimes there's 5 males and 7 females, sometimes there's 3 females and 4 males, but these societies are closed, and I got really into learning about acorn woodpecker dynamics, even though a lot of that doesn't actually feature in the book.
Can you tell us about the process of working with your illustrator, Kelsey Bazell?
I absolutely loved working with Kelsey. She is an incredible artist. I mean, the cover and the back cover alone are gorgeous. The interior pages, like the lead-up pages, are this charming design with birds and clouds. I think that the publisher could not have chosen a better illustrator for the job, and I thoroughly enjoyed working with her, especially as a beginner writer. Having somebody working with me who was already a published illustrator was fantastic. I absolutely loved working with her.
What are a couple books you've read recently that you really loved?
My favorite book of 2024 that I read was called The Birds That Audubon Missed by Ken Kaufman. I've admired Ken Kaufman's work for a long time just as a naturalist and a person who reads a lot of bird books, but I thought that this book about sort of grappling with Audubon's legacy and the sort of last era of when all of these people were going out to discover, quote unquote, these new species was extremely interesting, and I appreciated that it was coming from the perspective of somebody who is willing to recognize the awful parts of this history and sort of just bring both like our own modern perspective on this awful history together with an appreciation of a genuinely incredible artist who did some terrible things and just allegedly discovered a lot of groundbreaking species. I really loved that book.
Is there anything else you want us to know about your book?
It's been a real labor of love. I am just so happy that the publisher took a chance on a first-time writer like me, and I can show my favorite page, which is the acorn woodpecker page, because I just think Kelsey did such a stunning job, and I love acorn woodpeckers, as I said before. So I just wanted to show that page. Every single person who I've seen holding the book, I make them look at this page because it's my favorite.
Can you read us a short passage and show us some pictures from your book?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I'll show the Laysan albatross page. So, you could have a family like a Laysan albatross. Many Laysan albatross babies have 2 moms. For several months before their babies hatch, the moms take turns sitting on their eggs to keep them warm. After their babies break out of their shells, one mom stays with them all the time to keep them safe and dry, while the other mom hunts for food and brings them fresh fish and squid right from the ocean.
Anything you'd like to say to Boulder Bookstore customers?
I think that the Boulder Bookstore is fantastic. I love that they do these Q&As with authors, and I really appreciate them allowing me to do something like this. They have all just been such wonderful and welcoming people, and I'm really happy that they're open to doing stuff like this with beginner writers. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for going to the Boulder Bookstore and checking out my book.